Welcome back to another video. Slightly different today. No unboxings, no metal detecting. I'm going to be looking at 3D printing and prepping our file for printing. So I have picked myself up an Anycubic Photon S 3D printer. As you can see here, they're going for 319 AUD, so convert that to your local currency. You'll need a separate resin to purchase. Comes in a variety of different colors. I'm not going to go into the video. I'm not going to go into the unit. That'll be in part 2. But once you're getting started, you can come over to this site here, thingiverse.com. Has a bunch of stencils and projects that you can download. So say if you want to search, over the last 7 days, what's been the most popular files, you can browse through that. So we've got a battleship game there, so you could click on that and then download the STL files that you'll need for your project. So if we've got a model here, this is related to metal detecting. It's put it over the bottom of the detector to strengthen the coil. So yeah, this is just previewing the STL file. So with that in mind, we need some software. So we're not going to use the software that comes built into that comes bundled with the Photon S. We're going to use the GU box, and it's just started raining here. So it's just checking for an update. So this is the interface there, and you can see there's our platform that we're printing off. Basic controls down the left. We can move, we can scale. We can rotate and mirror. So first thing we need to do is open up I'll go to my 3D printing file, and we are going to open up that MindLab STL that I was previewing before. So it'll just sort of say here, you can tell that it doesn't fit on the plate correctly. So we just need to rotate that. You can see that'll be by the blue, so we want to rotate that there by 90 degrees, and now you can see that yeah, it fits nicely on the plate. We also want to make sure that we have a look underneath the image as well, that we've got it centered, and we want to make sure that it's actually sitting on the plate, so it's not floating in free air. So now we've got our 3D model that's on the plate. There's some other controls along the top here, so you can dig a hole out if you've got a solid object there. That'll just use less resin. You can get it to lay out. You can clone, so if you want to have the exact same 3D model but have it on there multiple times just to save a bit of time in printing, you can do that. We'll just go ahead and save that as that'll be MindLab 2. So we've got that there with our reference point. I'll just jump into the settings here. So there's some predefined settings, and this is for the Photon S. There's a number of other 3D printers that the software supports. And resin, you can set on there how much it costs per litre or per gallon. Now your print settings here, this is where you sort of set your layer counts, your exposure time. If I just jump back to, somebody has been nice enough, a bunch of people have contributed to this Google Docs file. Basically, you go down and find your brand. So there's Anycubic, you find the type of resin you're using. So we're going to be using black there, and you can see what, what room temperature, what the exposure time's been, what the bottom exposure, number of bottom layers, and room temperature. So we've got an 8, we've got a 9-second exposure. So I'm using a 9-second exposure and 8 layers on the bottom. So it's a bit of trial and error there. Infill, leave as blank, and advanced. So once you've got all that set up to go, you can go over to your slicing menu here on this tab, and there's different support models. So you can see a little icon there for the top There's middle, bottom, and raft. So I just like to leave it on the auto. So if I just do plus all and let that process, it's going to go and add in all the support structures that it thinks it needs. You can see there, just need to look at it from all angles to make sure. So that's auto generated it. If you feel that you need to add in some more supports, you can click on the little plus. Alternatively, you can delete or you can modify. So that way, you'll know if you've got, if the print job fails, you might have to add in some extra supports. But this, is a pretty flat object anyway. So I'm going to leave that on the auto render there. And now really the last step is just to let that slice, and because it's only a pretty small flat object, it shouldn't take that long, but it's just essentially hitting the once it finishes centering, the slice button, and you'll see down here the progress of the slicing. And depending on what sort of project you're printing out, this can take quite a bit of time to write the file. Now you can see here that all our settings have been shown. We've got some details that it's going to use 18.4 milliliters. It's only going to weigh 20 grams. It's going to cost us 54 cents. It's going to take around 7 hours 20. And we can actually go through and drag this little slider down and actually see the slicing for every single layer that it's going to right through from your base. You build back up the stack there, and you can sort of see this is how it's going to build the 3D model. So we need to save our sliced file. So we can call this MindLab2 slice, and we'll save that as well. So it's a lot quicker to slice the file than what it is. It's a lot quicker to write the file than what it is to slice it. So you'll see that it's now gone up to 2.8 megabytes. The last step really is to copy that across to a USB key, which we'll insert into the Photon S. So that's really all we're doing now for part one, and I'll